Hello friends, and welcome to another day of Crochet and Crime. My name is Hazy Baby. Today is the 24th of April 2023. It is a Monday. And I know my video is a little bit late today, but I am tired, okay? I'm tired. I didn't get to sleep last night till like this morning. So, I know, I only have myself to blame. But what's a girl gotta do, right? I write, I have many jobs, I wear many hats. This is my crochet hat. It's imaginary. Just imagine it. I really need to get a crochet hat now. Damn it, now I have to make a crochet hat. Anyway, without further ado, welcome to today. Today, like I said, is Monday, and it is another day where I crochet and talk about Australian crime. See you in a little bit. Okay, welcome to another day of, like I said, Crochet and Crime. I'm still working on Evie and her sea of pink. I'm working on these 12 rectangles. They are now. I am turning these little babies into this, and adding an extra layer over there on top of it. So, without further ado, let us continue. So, a Sydney dealer with a $1,000 a day drug habit is to be jailed. So, after selling cocaine to fuel her $1,000 a day drug habit, her criminal activity, a Sydney woman, says she wants to help addicts upon release of her prison sentence. So that's great. So she appeared, so her name is Alexandra Moss, 28, and she dealt illicit drugs out of her one-bedroom rented unit in Rose Bay in 2021 before she was arrested by the New South Wales Police. So she appeared for sentencing in the Darling Centre District Court on Friday after pleading guilty to one count of supplying large commercial quantities of prohibited drugs, namely half a kilo of cocaine. I mean, if you're going to go big or go home, I suppose. That's what they say, isn't it? Oh my god, I've got that. If I were a fish and you caught me, you'd say, look at that fish, glittering in the sun, such a rare one, can't believe that you caught one. It's been stuck in my head for days. So I'd like to thank the lovely woman who wrote that song. So now it's stuck in my head and it won't get out. It's living there rent-free, I tell you. Yes, okay, let's get back to our crochet and crime. So she also pled guilty to one count of supplying a prohibited drug, which is something benentanol, which is referred to as G, apparently. Gotta get that G. Gotta get that G. That G. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get myself situated. I did this yesterday, the square over here, and I was now confused about what I did. And this is why I try and do all of my squares at the same time. This is technically a rectangle. Anyway, Moss admitted to selling the cocaine, but she said a friend of hers was the true dealer of the G, which she had never seen or used before. The substance was delivered to her home in a 25-litre blue plastic jug decanted into glass Santa Victoria mineral bottles. One of the contacts said the drugs could fetch up to $3,000 per litre on the streets. Her knowledge about G was naive, and the court heard including having to look up the drug's freezing point on Wikipedia. So she absolutely knew nothing about the drug, apparently. So, but we've all got to start somewhere, okay? We've all got to start somewhere. Let's not hold that against her. So photographs and footage were seized by police show Moss holding up drugs wearing a bikini, her drug dealing associate decanting the G, and piles of money on the floor. So she's a genius as well. So well done, genius. Just take video proof and photography proof of your illicit drug dealing, you moron. How many of these dumbasses are there? So defense barrister Philip Bolton, CS, Mr. Bolton, Moss, had been humiliated by the media coverage, which included the titillating photographs of her in a bikini. Claims that she was wealthy and an heiress because of her family connections could also endanger her in jail, he said. Bolton said that his client sold drugs and took clients to sex workers to fuel her drug habit, in which she was using up to $1,500 worth of cocaine daily. I'm surprised she has a nose left. She was a very integrated drug user at the time. She was undoubtedly selling the drugs to maintain her extensive drug habit, he told Judge John Pickering. No doubt. That's quite an impressive drug habit. Not that drug habits are impressive, but like I said, it's still quite impressive. The cocaine was used as a form of self-medication, apparently. It's what she was claiming, for treating untreated ADHD. Wow, Jesus, I didn't know that was a good enough excuse. Does that mean I can be on cocaine too then? Woohoo! Fetch me the money. Also, I just feel like Ritalin would be so much cheaper. It was a form of self-medication which destroyed her dignity, destroyed her self-worth, and destroyed her career prospects, and led to a very, very degrading set of life circumstances, Bolton said. The Tweed Heads woman has not profited from the selling of drugs, with the lion's share going back to using her own stock. I mean, well, if she didn't use her own stock, she would have profited. Should we feel sorry for her because she put twice as much up her nose than she sold? No, I don't. It's an extremely sad situation for a young woman to be in, and I agree, but it's an extremely sad situation for anyone to be in. So I'm just, if you're trying to play the sympathy, empathy card there, love, I'm not buying it. I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Stop being a druggo. It's not hard. Just say no. Drugs are bad, okay? So she feels ashamed and she feels disgraced, as she should. But that won't make her feel any better. She feels very disappointed in her behaviour. And Bolton accepted Moss should go to jail, but downplayed the seriousness of her conduct, which is actually what's pissing me off and the reason why I'm being so rude and bitter. Because, woman, you did the crime, you must do the time, regardless of what you happen to look like. Yes, the good Lord made you beautiful, or genetics, or whatever it is that you believe in. That doesn't give you the right to do whatever the fuck you like, whenever the fuck you like, just because you happen to be born pretty. Annoying. Anyway, let's move on from this drug case, and we'll move on to something a little bit more interesting. Oh, look, it's more drugs. But this time it was a major drug bust, which netted 45 kilometres. That was a lot of meth. No, 45 kgs of meth that was headed to Melbourne. So I like these cases because they're not about the individual tiny person, one person. They're about the larger group of getting drugs off the streets, which I think is fantastic. And meth, for those of you who don't know, the reason why it's so highly addictive is it increases your dopamine levels to the point where, or those good feeling chemicals that your body naturally creates. It creates them to the point where you are no longer able to create them for yourself. So you pretty much spend the rest of your life trying to chase the high or trying to just feel anything. So yeah, that's why it's instantly addictive. So international authorities have seized over 45 kilograms of methamphetamine headed for Melbourne after a global investigation by the AFP, so the Australian Federal Police. Australian Federal Police officers in Mexico uncovered plans for a shipment of a dangerous street drug to be sent to an address in Melbourne earlier this month. The shipment was intercepted in Hong Kong by customs officers who found the drugs hidden inside a thermoforming machine, which molds plastic, in case you don't know what a thermofolding machine is. So AFP Detective Superintendent Patrick Gordon says that criminals using Hong Kong as counterfeit, as a conduit to filtered drugs from Australia to Central America, to Australia from Central America. Hong Kong is a popular transit point for shipments coming from Central America, and we've had in the past, including a record 1.8 ton of liquid meth seizure, also destined for Australia. So I'm glad they were able to get that meth before it came into Australia, because meth is really, like I was saying, like as far as, bad drugs go, meth's got to be up there with the number one worst drug ever to be on. Okay, so the seizure showed the importance of the AFP's international partnership in keeping Australia safe at home, he said. The methamphetamine had the potential to cause a significant harm to the Australian community. Unfortunately, these international criminal syndicates care only about the lining of their pockets and not about the irreversible harm that these drugs do to not only our people but also our economy. But they care about their own money. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. Because if they were a fish and they caught them, you'd say, look at that fish, grossest in the sea, on drugs. Can't believe that you caught it. Yeah, I'm just going to make up my own lyrics apparently now. Alrighty, that was a nice quick short one. Moving on. This next story is out of Melbourne. Bullets have been fired at a Melbourne family home in a drive-by shooting. So I don't often see very many of these drive-by shootings here in Australia in the news, but when we do, there seems to be a lot of it lately, and I don't know if the world's gone absolutely batshit crazy. Well, I do know that the world's gone absolutely batshit crazy, but I don't know if that is a new thing that is occurring or whether we are just reporting on it more often than we used to. So here we go. So bullets have sprayed the front of an East Melbourne home in the early mornings of a drive-by shooting. So residents at the house told 9 News that they were woken by the sounds of gunshot fire at 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. Several bullets hit the windows of the house of the Owens Avenue in Glen Waverley. So 5 people were at the home at the time, but no one was injured, thank goodness. And terrified residents told 9 News that they have no idea why their home was targeted. I don't think you would admit if you did know why your home was targeted, right? Because, yeah, anyway. Let's see. So, detectives from the Monash Crime Investigation Unit are asking for any potential witnesses to come forward. Anyone with dashcam footage or information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000 or submit a confidential report online. So, that one was even a shorter story than the last one. So, 2 down, 10 to go. Yeah, so I'd say it's drug related in some way. It might be that they thought it was a specific house that someone who was doing, not so nice things was at. And so they tried to, I don't know. I just like to make up stories when I don't have all the information. It's probably not helpful. Thank goodness I'm not actually into the law. I'll just make up my own story. It's the writer in me, guys. It's the writer in me. I think my stories are way better, just saying. Anywho, moving on. Now, these stories are becoming more and more in recent times. So there's a manhunt underway in Brisbane after a street fight stabbing. I think in the last 14 days, I have read about, I reckon about 8 cases of stabbings here in Australia. So could you imagine if we had guns as prevalent as, say, our other countries do? I won't say which ones, America, but we all know which ones they are, and there really is no need for me to keep harping on about it, although maybe, just maybe, it'll change somebody somewhere. I doubt it though. I'm just one Australian redhead, and I don't think it'll make much of a difference what I think. But anyway, so if we had access to guns, these would be all shootings and not stabbings. So I think we can be thankful for little things. People are still going to be violent regardless of whether they have guns or not. People are still going to be violent. But the thing is, with a knife, it's you have to be up close and personal with somebody with a knife. You know, you have to really think about it. You have to really mean it. A gun, you can't accidentally stab someone. You have to really intend on stabbing them. You know, a child could probably accidentally cut themselves, but I highly doubt they accidentally stab themselves looking at a knife, where, you know, children die every day in different countries shooting themselves in the face because the guns were unsafe. Or, you know, people who own guns are more likely to be killed by their own weapons. So what does that tell everybody? But anyway, like I said, I wouldn't harp on, and I agree, I won't. So a manhunt continues after 2 men were left in the hospital following a wild brawl in the Brisbane street in the early morning on Sunday morning. So police declared a crime scene in the city's West End following a fight between a group of people and the occupants of a vehicle. So it's another one of those road ragey ones that I was reading last week. Just before 2 a.m. on Sunday, police were called to the Russell Street following reports of people fighting on the street, where officers found 1 man with serious stab wounds into his back. So, you know, the person who stabbed him was a coward, stabbed him in the back. Asshole. Hold on. And the man was taken to the Princess Alexandra Hospital for treatment. A second man sustained an injury to his head and to his arm, and he was taken to the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital for treatment. So they were taken to 2 separate hospitals, which is good. Investigations are continuing to find the cause of the disturbance, with police reviewing security footage. So again, they're asking for anyone who has any CCTV or other visuals in the area of that time, like ring cams or even dash cams, like if you happen to drive past when it was happening. Could you please contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000. That is 1-800-333-000 if you have any of that footage or any information which will help the police, because they love it. Because cameras are everywhere now, and it is actually very good for catching these twat muffins with their twat muffinry. And just when I finish saying how good CCTV is, here is this next bit of information. So police are scouring CCTV footage in a bid to find a mother who abandoned her baby. Oh, so sad, so sad, so sad. I feel like we need non-judgmental drop-off points for parents. So detectives are combing through CCTV footage in hopes of identifying a mother who abandoned a newborn baby at a home in Sydney's West. Just leave her alone, guys. Did she abandon them and allow the baby in a safe space? Then yes, just leave it then. Jesus. So the newborn girl, oh no, okay, I take it back. The newborn girl was found alone in the backyard at a home of Gira Road in Blacktown at 2:30 p.m. on a Friday after a family heard the baby crying. So yeah, don't leave him in the backyard, okay? Detective Inspector Jason Pavotsky from Blacktown Police told Ben Fortham from 2GB this morning that police have no leads so far in the case. All they have is a newborn baby that was left in the backyard. There was, however, some CCTV footage taken in the area where the baby was abandoned. Police have been working through the weekend, meticulously sifting through the footage, he said. Police are mainly concerned about the welfare of the mother, so they're actually looking for the mother to make sure that she's okay, because, you know, giving birth is no small feat. And the baby was, you know, a freshie, fresh out the womb. And so they're concerned about that. They just want to make sure that she's okay. And if anyone knows who this lady is, please come forward and let them take that information on, because like I said, you know, they want to make sure that that woman is okay, you know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a woman but a child. Well, like I said, I know that makes me cynical, but 9 times out of 10 it's got to be a reason she abandoned the baby, right? It's the belief that the baby was born only an hour or up to 3 hours before she was found naked and crying. So either the baby was completely unexpected and she gave birth right there in the backyard and just left the baby where she did, or not very far from where they are. So it's unknown whether she was born in the backyard, but police have confirmed that she was clearly not born in a hospital. So I really do hope they find this woman. And hopefully I'll have some more information about that to you guys as the news unfolds. Like I said, that baby was abandoned on Friday afternoon, and it is now Monday, and this is the only information that I could currently find on this story, because I was looking. And they have not found the woman yet, and I don't even know the circumstances in which she abandoned her child, but it must take some serious guts. I know people are like, oh, it doesn't take any guts to abandon a child. I'm a mum, and I'm telling you that it would have taken some bravado, although I doubt that she even knew she was pregnant. By the sounds of it, like I said, I tend to make up stories in my head, and I think that maybe, just maybe, she was a wee little baby, and she had a baby, and then she didn't know what to do with it, so she put it in someone's backyard, hoping that they would find the baby. Because, like I said, even though the baby was naked, sure, jumped in the backyard, either she gave birth in a dissociate state and had no idea what was happening, or something is clearly not right, because no one gives birth on their own and abandons their baby if everything is hunky-dory at home, you know? So, like I said, I hope they find out who she is, and if it doesn't benefit her to find out who she is, I hope they never find out who she is then. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. This next story is about a King's School headmaster. Well, it's not about the headmaster. It's actually about a student who killed a goanna. Yeah, so the headmaster of Sydney's elite school has spoken out about a quick judgment passed on some senior students after they had allegedly killed a goanna while on school camp at the end of the term. So, anyone who doesn't know, it's illegal to kill a goanna unless you have the right permissions and stuff like that. Here in Australia, they are a protected species, and only First Nations people are able to, are permitted to eat them. So, yeah, I think that might have been the problem, so we'll soon find out. So, it was revealed last Friday that a group of senior students from King's School in Sydney were under investigation after an alleged incident of animal cruelty. Okay, so they didn't actually eat the animal, they just cruelly tortured it to death. Okay, then they deserve some prison time. There was an incident which occurred at the King's School at the annual cadet camp towards the end of last term, the school said in a statement. We can confirm... Oops, hold on. Give me a second. I'll just finish this off before I'd finish my story off. Shimmering in the sun, such a rare one. Can't believe that you got one. If I were a fish and you caught me, you'd say, look at that fish. 3 down. Only a few more 100 to go, what it feels like. Okay, so we can confirm that the goanna was killed by a senior student, and the school does not condone this behaviour of its students, and police confirm an investigation is underway after the school reported the incident. However, after speaking to the media, the headmaster, Tony George, never trust a person with 2 first names, appeared to walk back to the confirmation. Well, a goanna is dead. There certainly is a case, he said. It's hard to see how and who and what was involved because we actually don't know any of the details yet. So he said that the school had sufficient cause to report the allegation to police as a matter of potential unlawful animal cruelty, and I agree. and you should have to pay for your actions. And I agree with that too. He claimed that people have been very lucky and very quick to blame students, teachers, and school before learning any of the facts. Well, you're not helping with this conference call, just saying. It's pretty difficult for the students, as it's also difficult for their families, because again, these kinds of things are not straightforward and simple. It's often quite complex, George said. And we've got to put some adolescent boys that are here in the heat of the moment trying to recollect and put together what they could have done differently. It's all in hindsight, and obviously the parents are very, very, very concerned for their kids. I'm sorry, but the parents should be very, very, very concerned that their children are able to easily be peer pressured into killing an animal who couldn't defend itself. So while I agree that there are other things that are more important to be focused on in the world, I don't agree that we should be saying, oh, boys will be boys, you know, it was a peer pressure moment, we should all feel sorry for them. No, they killed an animal. There is no reason why you would kill it unless you were going to eat it. They obviously didn't eat it. They obviously got a kick out of killing it. Therefore, we should keep an eye on them because it's fucking creepy as. And, you know, it starts out with killing animals. You know what happens next? You know what happens next. Let me just say this. Jeffrey Dahmer, he was a taxidermist. Yeah, and he's not the only one. John Wayne Gacy, he also loved to kill animals. Bundy, he also killed animals. There's a reason why in psychology the trifecta of evil, if you will, is bedwetting, fire starting, and animal cruelty. So, yeah, I would be worried. I'd be worried because I would be very concerned that my son and or daughter, because I don't know that it was all boys, but I think it was all boys, judging by the conference, was so, I don't know, sheepy enough to follow everybody else in their footsteps. And I think even if you were just a bystander, you are just as bad as the person who is the perpetrator. You're just as bad as the perpetrator. If you stand by and do nothing, that is a travesty, to stand by and do nothing. Like I said, I'm 37 years old, so, you know, who am I to judge anyone else? And I'm savage with my opinions. You guys know that. You've been watching my videos now for a few weeks, and I'm not ever going to change. But I do believe that I would be more than severely disappointed and very, very concerned if my child was part of this group that killed an innocent animal, defenseless animal. Yeah, and I'd be extremely sad. Extremely sad. Do I think the media should blow it out of proportion? No. Do I think it should be anything to do with us? No, I don't. I think it should have been kept in-house. I think the parents should get those kids some help. I think they should be prosecuted to the law. I think it should be important that they are made an exemplary case of, if that's the case in their school, that there is this bullying that's happening, this subversive sort of culture in which that kind of violence is okay, then yeah, we need to get help for that. But I don't think that I should be commenting on it, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like it shouldn't have been ever put in the media enough for me to comment on it. But then, here I am giving it airtime, so it is what it is. Speaking of murder, the gangland murderer accused of involved in planning a gym execution has gone on trial. So men accused of helping plan a brutal gangland slaying of a father in front of his son will remain behind bars after police arrest him, allegedly attempting to flee to Southeast Asia. Yeah, whoop. They caught him at the airport, peeps. They caught him at the airport. So homicide investigators stopped Lee Nye, or Andy Pham, 26, at the Sydney airport on Sunday as he was trying to fly to Vietnam, and charged him with the 2nd of March murder of Taha Sabah. So Sabah, a 40-year-old father, was shot multiple times in the chest while sitting in his car with his son for what police described a very callous, gangland-style murder. Absolutely horrible. absolutely horrible. That poor child or son, I don't care how old he was, he's always going to be the child of his father, had to watch his father be shot and murdered. It's absolutely terrible. So police allege that the Fairfield East man did not fire the gun, but played an integral role in planning and coordinating before and after the execution. And like I was saying earlier, I really feel that we need to hold all parties accountable in these kinds of things, because murder and antisocial behaviour doesn't happen in a vacuum. So he allegedly placed a second getaway car in position a week before the murder, and on the day of Sabah's execution helped ferry the alleged shooters to and fro from their locations. So he's just become a chauffeur for these executors, basically. Pham remained in custody in Surrey Hills Police Station on Monday, when his lawyer, Annabelle Rath, did not apply for bail during a short mention at the Downing Centre local court. So he did not apply for bail. He wouldn't have been allowed anyway because he was found on the run, which tells us that, if given the chance, he would run. So he was formally refused by the magistrate, Greg Gorin, who ruled Pham would remain in custody for another 8 weeks, since he couldn't be trusted, and I agree. And he has not entered a plea yet. He bought a ticket to go to Vietnam, and when he got free, instead he got a free trip to the police station, and hopefully he'll go to jail. Basically, Homicide Squad Deputy Danny Doherty told reporters on Monday, what we're saying from all of his actions, and there's multiple of them, that he was a competent and completely complicit in this murder. So, yeah. Now he's been placed before the court on the charge of murder, and we believe it's a strong case against him, and I agree, I think it is a strong case against him. So Pham allegedly applied for a passport after the murder and was intercepted on Sunday after investigators feared that he would flee the jurisdiction, and they were right, because they found him at the airport. We had to keep an open mind about the motive of the killing of Sabah. I don't actually believe that. I think that no one deserves to be murdered. One theory is the organised crime network hired someone to kill him after a conflict. Sabah was shot in a car outside of an elite fight forced mixed martial arts gym in Sefford on at about 6:30 a.m. on the 2nd of March, and he died at the scene. So that's sad. His 12-year-old son was in the passenger seat and remained unharmed, so I'm glad that they didn't hurt him, but he has been emotional damage for the rest of his life. Police later found a burnt-out Mazda about a kilometre away from the neighbouring Buring, and a second getaway car, a Volkswagen, was also found burnt out. The search of Sabah's shooter continues, and Pham will return to court on June 22nd. So they haven't actually found the shooter of him, and I don't imagine that they'll get any information out of Pham either. So that's really, really sad, but I'm glad they were able to intercept him, and I'm glad they were able to at least get one person in prison for this horrible crime. And like I said, I don't care what your job is or what you do in life or really much anything. I just feel like no one deserves to be murdered in cold blood in front of their child. I feel like their child, you have to have respect for the child at the very least. That boy will never be the same watching his father get murdered like that. It's absolutely horrific, and I don't know how these people can live with themselves, to be honest. But anyway, it's kind of nice up here on my high horse. Anyone like to join me? All right, moving right along. Speaking of high horses, and trust me, it's quite high now that I've read this, an alleged drunk driver was caught by police not once, but twice within the same 24-hour period in Canberra. So a Canberra man faces a long stint off the road when he was allegedly caught drink driving by police twice within a 24-hour period. So, like, how much more dumber can you get? How much more dumber can you get? Apparently, I have great English today, guys. Great English. So, police said that the man was driving a purple Mazda 2 when he was first pulled over during a traffic stop on Batman Street in Brendan at 2:10 p.m. on Saturday. He returned a positive result after undertaking a roadside breath test and was taken back to the police station where he allegedly blew a 0.18, which is more than 3 times that of the legal limit. So what you're allowed to drink when driving. And I have this to say, just really briefly, while I'm on my high horse, I might as well have a good go at it. I believe that you shouldn't drink and drive at all. I think if you're going to drink, find a different way home. Honestly, it's not worth it. You might think that you're Superman. You might think that you're amazing. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think 8 out of 10 times it's the drunk driver survives and the person they crash into is the person who dies. So I think that you shouldn't take any sort of drugs or drink any sort of alcohol or be inebriated in any way while driving. I also believe that you shouldn't drive tired. So I have insomnia and I often can't fall asleep at nighttime, and there have been a few mornings where my poor children have got to stay home. I know, oh, poor woe is them. They're having a wonderful time at home because I was too tired to drive. Too tired to drive safely, basically. And I think that their lives and the lives of other motorists on the road are more important than a day of school. So, yay me, aren't I lovely? But moving right along, the man was suspended for driving for 90 days. About 11 hours later, the same man, a 33-year-old, was pulled over by the police in Carajong Street in Brendan after they noticed him driving around in the same purple Mazda 2. He undertook and failed another roadside breath test before he was taken back to the police station. Like, you think, I mean, I can kind of see, it was 11 hours. Anyway, the man returned a breath analysis of 0.096, which is close to twice the legal limit. So 11 hours later, he obviously was still drinking because, I don't know about you guys, but 11 hours if he'd stopped drinking, even if he was 3 times over the limit, he would still be over the limit, but he wouldn't be twice over the limit. So he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of driving a motor vehicle with alcohol in the blood and a single count of driving while suspended. And the 33-year-old Brendale man will face the ACT Magistrates Court later on today. Oh, well, probably already faced them today. And it will be interesting to see what he got. I hope he gets prison time because I don't think he's going to learn from just a simple, you don't get the license, naughty, naughty boy. Because clearly that little piece of paper don't mean shit to him. Baby ain't got shit on me. Yeah. As you can tell, when I'm tired, I'm less tolerant of bullshit. You're welcome. So, moving right along from drunken fools to a rare double jeopardy case. No, just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm serious. A Queensland man has been charged with a 2009 murder in a rare double jeopardy case. A man acquitted for a 2009 murder has been charged with the same crime again. Just the second time in Queensland court, where they'll exercise the double jeopardy law, meaning that they'll just forget that we have a double jeopardy law. Detectives from Logan, south of Brisbane, reopened their murder investigation after they received a fresh and compelling evidence, so stronger evidence, obviously. In December, a man was arrested and charged today, and an application will be made to the Queensland Court for Appeal to apply for a previously acquitted person to be retried for the offence of murder. And I kind of agree with this one. I feel like this is something that under certain circumstances, should definitely be allowed to occur. Because sometimes they just don't have enough evidence. So Detective Inspector Chris Knight said that arrests showed the persistence of the investigators to achieve justice for the victim of this crime. Knight also acknowledged the importance of the member of the public who shared the information with police. Currently, double jeopardy prohibits successful and successive prosecutions of the same offence, with the exception of murder and some tainted acquittals. So I am glad that it's with the exception of murder, and hopefully, but they still have to make an application. There still has to be an application put forward. Otherwise, people could just say whatever they liked. They could just continue to hound a person even though the person had nothing to do with anything. And some people go through their whole lives being blamed for the murder of somebody, and turns out, 30 years later, they find out that that person actually had nothing to do with the murder, and they had that hanging over their head for their whole lives. So, we've got to feel really, really sorry for that. And I hope that the evidence that they have now is enough to get him put in jail if he truly did kill this person in 2009. So, yeah, that was a quick one, and because it was just an update, and I'll be moving quite quickly. Let's move on. Okay, this last story is out of Melbourne, and we're back to our CCTV footage. A mother has been stabbed in the face while working at a takeaway shop in Melbourne. A Melbourne hospitality worker was suddenly stabbed in the face, seemingly random attack, as she handed a couple their potato cakes. So I call them potato scallops here in Queensland, but you guys probably call them something different in Melbourne. You call them potato cakes. We call them scallops. Anyway, a 45-year-old St. Albans mother was on a mid-shift at around about 7 a.m. at 7 p.m. on April 11th, when a man and a woman wearing face coverings, masks and gloves and hoodies entered the shop on Furlong Road in the Sunshine North. The CCTV vision taken from the store shows a man reaching over and slashing the worker across the face with a weapon as the worker handed the woman 2 potato cakes that they had just bought. I mean, it would have been so sus, right? They're like wearing all of this garb, and then they order potato cakes, and she's like, just calm down. They're not, don't panic. And then gets slashed straight across the face with a knife. That is not how you play knifey spoony. That is not fair. Not fair, not fair. The man and woman had already paid for the food, but didn't make any demands or even any threats, which is the reason why she was not concerned at the time. So Senior Constable Michael Poole has further confirmed that there was no altercation between the worker and the man and the woman, and they have no idea why that she was slashed at. So the owner of the business, David Bonucci, said he was hearing the incident put a shock through his whole body. It brought a tear to my eye. She didn't deserve that, he said. Bonucci said he has been feeling the attack was targeted, but police have to consider an unprovoked assault at this stage because they don't understand. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They just walked in, ordered 2 potato cakes, paid for them, and then while she was handing it to the woman, the man slashed her across the face. Like, just so... I just don't have any words. So I could understand how come the owner thinks it might have something to do with the woman, because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why? Why? It's a senseless action. It's just so stupid. It's very, very lucky that she didn't lose her sight on her eye or sustained more serious injuries. Poole said, bleeding and in shock, the woman was able to call her partner, who took her to the hospital, and she's undergone some plastic surgery and will return to work shortly. I'm glad she's happy about that. I could never return to that place. After the attack, the duo then fled the scene in their dark-coloured sedan with covered number plates. So that must have been a giant indication that they had a plan to do something stupid. And they were last seen heading north along the Godfrey Avenue. So I'm hoping that we find out what it was that they did. After the attack, the duo then fled the scene, like I said, in a dark-coloured van, and they're asking if anyone has any information on this case, could they please contact Victorian Police, because there is a crime that is still being investigated by them. And yeah, I can appreciate that being an important, imperative thing that they do today. So, my friends, that is it for my Monday, and I apologize in advance if you found this video quite boring. I didn't. I loved it. I absolutely had a wonderful time with you, and I hope to see you later on tomorrow or in the week. If you would like to join my crochet along, yes, I am still talking while crocheting, then please pop over to my TikTok page at hazy_baby, or Crochet and Crime Hazy. On Instagram, you can find me. You'll find me. I'm the redhead. It's not hard. I'm too hard to miss. I'm a personality, that's for sure. You will see me on there. If you have TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Bigo, or Facebook, you can find me on there as well. I am doing a crochet along where every day I do a little bit of my freeform crocheting, and you can join me too, and I will show you a few new stitches. I don't know what they're called, so don't ask me, because I will just rename them, because I do that when I don't know the name of things. And yes, I shall have a video fresh up today. I didn't do one yesterday, as Sunday is my day off. And I was very much needing it yesterday. So like I said, I do this for free, for the love of it. I know some people love crochet. I know some people love crime like I do. So like I was saying earlier in my video, I am a woman of many hats. So if you would like to be my next commission please inbox me, because I have a space coming up at the end of this week. This blanket, Evie, this one, the pink one, should be done by the end of this week and sent to her brand new home. So if you would like to be the next person to order one of these lovely blankets, please inbox me and we can get the details sorted. Okay, until tomorrow, I thank you very much for your time, your effort, energy, your patience, and your willingness to hang out for this long. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.